Walking by a Jeep Grand Wagoneer is like walking in Manhattan. The skyscrapers are just towering above you and you feel very small and insignificant. That's what you get in a vehicle this long. This is the L. It's brand new for 2023. It competes against the Suburbans and the Navigator Ls and the Escalade ESVs. It's giant. It's very luxurious. It's over $100,000 and it's got a new turbo inline six. So let's try it out. Do yourself a solid. Sell your car with CarGurus. Type in a few details, get a cash offer from dealers nationwide. If you like the price, they pick it up and they pay you. The Grand Wagoneer was all new for 2022. It's the biggest Jeep ever. It's also the first regular Jeep, other than the Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, to crest $100,000. Someone had to answer to the Cadillac Escalade, and the Lincoln Navigator, and the Chevy Suburban. This Jeep is big. The L is a foot longer than a regular Grand Wagoneer. A lot of that goes to the back glass. It's as big as a Peter Pan bus. You get great views when you're sitting back there in the third row. And here, independent rear suspension on that back axle. Normally it's a live axle because it's based on the Ram 1500 pickup truck. But on here, you get better ride control and handling. From the side, yeah, a lot of people don't really like the way it looks. Neither do I. It looks kind of plain and flat. But when you go to the front, it's unmistakably Jeep. You get that 7-slot grille, the nice thin lights, even the parking sensors are nicely integrated, nice stacking of the LEDs everywhere, 22-inch rims, because this is the Obsidian edition, it's all blacked out, even has a two-tone roof, which right now you can't really tell, but some very nice paint jobs on these vehicles. Now, the Grand Wagoneer isn't actually longer than a regular Wagoneer. The Grand name is a bit of a misnomer. What it really is just extra trims, extra luxury inside, and a higher price. That's what you're really getting. And here, the air suspension, you can go up to 10 inches total ground clearance. So in either way, it goes up to 3.6 inches from the normal height, or it'll drop half an inch to make it easier to get in and out. Compared to the standard Grand Wagoneer, the L has 16 cubic feet more total cargo space. There's 44 cubic feet behind the third row, 89 behind the second, and 131 cubic feet in total. The Grand Cherokee already had a nice interior, but the Grand Wagoneer takes that to the next level. This third row is truly kingly for a real adult. Check it out. I can also power recline. I got nice padded armrests, got my own moonroof. It's not heated, I think it should be, but check out the space. An adult, I'm gonna repeat this again, an adult can actually fit back here for hours. That's a great thing. As you'd expect, there's a ton of room in the second row. And in the Grand Wagoneer, you get this big center console. There's no fridge in here, but there's a ton of space. I can put almost half my arm in there. Separate screen, 4-zone climate, heated and cooling for these seats. Everything you could possibly want, but I would really love to have massaging seats and power controls back here. These seats fold down manually, and as great as that is, who really wants to haul plywood in a Grand Wagoneer? Not me. It's command central in the front row, even the power headrests that are 4-way adjustable. That's very Mercedes-like, even though Jeep is no longer owned by Mercedes-Benz and Daimler. But look at all this, screens, nice leather, soft roof, and it better have all this stuff, including a refrigerator. Gotta have that, because it's $107,000. I don't expect anything less. The Grand in Grand Wagoneer means the screens, 4 of them, including down here. Check that out. And this is not just a screen, it's a cover that hides the wireless phone charger and more USB and HDMI ports. I absolutely love how that works. Down here, you can adjust the conditioning of the climate, the seats, the massage, and there's 5 of them for both driver and passenger, cushion and seat back. You can also adjust the rear climate, and up here, it's Uconnect 5. You get a 12-inch screen versus the 10-inch on the regular Wagoneer, and it's quick, pretty easy to use. There's a few legibility issues, especially on the top here, but everything is customizable, and it works pretty fast. The only thing I don't like are some of these touch capacitive buttons on the side here. Those don't always respond very well, but there's actual physical controls for the climate. There's a really nice rotary shifter, and all the drive modes and the air suspension height, really nice toggle switches. It feels good. The Grand Wagoneer comes with a low-range transfer case and a rear locking differential. You can see all this stuff right on the screen here, all the accessory gauges, angles, what driving mode you're in, the height of the suspension. Let's get real, this truck is very expensive. You're not gonna be taking it off-road like you would a Grand Cherokee. There's also an app called Relax. Nice and hot in here. There's really no point, just to show the resolution and the frame rate of these high-res screens. While you're parked, of course. All these screens are overwhelming, just like any new system, but the far right screen is particularly interesting because as a driver, I can barely see that it's on. It's so heavily tinted. And when you're in the passenger seat, you have full control of the vehicle's cameras. You can send navigation directions to this main screen here and have all of your own audio video inputs. You can watch movies, basically do anything on there that's completely separate from the main screen. The stereo is by Macintosh. There's 24 speakers and 1,375 watts of sound. The seats have 5 different massage modes. The quality of this cabin is top-notch. The materials, the leather, the aluminum, the fit, the colors, it's all high-end. It's very well put together. What I don't like, Jeep is still using some touch-sensitive controls that by now the auto industry is realizing that it's not very good, but they still have them on here. So for example, over here, you press these, they're not always very responsive. When you want to adjust the seat on the door, sometimes you're activating the massage or even the memory buttons. You don't really want to have that. Also, there's no semi-automated driving assist, not as standard. That's an option in a $100,000 truck still. And the air conditioning and the heat are a little odd because even if I have the air only on the floor, it's still blowing through the top of these doors for these vents all the time. The big news for 2023 is the new Hurricane engine. That's the new twin-turbo, 3-liter inline 6. Inline 6s are making a big comeback. You're seeing them now at Jaguar Land Rover, Mercedes-Benz. The V's become I's. Why? Well, it's just a smoother design, inherently, a lot less vibration. So when you combine them with auto stop start systems and mild hybrids, they drive better. What this replaces on most trims is the 6.4-liter Hemi V8. That made 470 horsepower. It's still available on the base Grand Wagoneer, the base Wagoneer, but if you get the Grand Wagoneer L, you're getting max power with this new Turbo 6. And take a listen to it. You can't hear much, because you shouldn't. It's a luxury vehicle. But it's smooth, the 8-speed automatic clicks off shifts, no problem. There is a sport mode, and it holds the revs a bit. You're not going to want to do that. But just know that you're not lacking any power versus the V8. If anything, it feels more responsive, especially in the low end. The V8 sounds great, but this is the better choice. Except for fuel economy. The fuel economy is not improved at all. Check out the numbers. 16 mpg combined. There's just no getting around a vehicle this size. We're talking roughly 6,700 pounds with no weight inside, no passengers. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a 6 or an 8. It's just going to consume a lot of fuel. A lot. My goodness. If you listen really closely, I can hear it. The little barks from the shifter as you're kind of going through the gears. It's very muffled, but I could tell that if uncorked, this engine would sound pretty awesome. You know, if they threw it in whatever the next gen Charger, I know that's not going to happen, but if they really tune this engine for performance, this would be pretty fun. But for a big SUV, it's got everything you'd really want. It does. And it's quiet, very quiet in here. When you have a vehicle this open, you got to put a lot of insulation into it. And it's very hushed at 60 to 70 miles an hour. Just perfect, really is. The ride is great. It's an air suspension on all corners. That always gets you that nice gliding feeling. It's very nice. I will say, though, that with these tires, they're 22-inch wheels. Over some bumps, they really can't contain the impact. So if you're on, like, say, a pothole or any sort of, like, sewer grading, anything like that, it really shutters the whole cabin. I'm not as impressed with that. They really could be isolated a bit better. And if you're getting a Grand Wagoneer L, you're getting the biggest wheels and tires, so you don't really have a choice there. A big surprise about the Grand Wagoneer L is that it actually can handle, which is odd, but very reassuring. The steering is pretty numb. Off-center, you don't get a lot of feel, not a lot of response. And the thickness of this wheel, while it's nice, it's heated, it's got 3 different levels of heating I can select here on the dash. I don't have the road feel that I really want. It's a little too isolating. But the handling itself is actually really impressive. The Ram 1500 already, to me, handles like a car, like an SUV would, not a truck. And so when you put this same chassis in this SUV, the Grand Wagoneer, and even if you lengthen it, remember, this is a foot longer, over 7 inches in the wheelbase. It's great, it truly is. So you don't get a lot of body roll, no leaning, no diving. The chassis just feels solid, except for some of those thwacks that I was talking about before about, road imperfections coming through those low profile tires. Aside from that, this thing is solid. Yeah, believe it or not, this is actually a fun to drive SUV. It shouldn't be for a vehicle this size. Compared to other large SUVs like an Escalade or Suburban, this one gives me better control. And the braking too also feels the same way, it's secure. But be aware, 6,700 pounds of vehicle, you gotta plan ahead. The 2023 Grand Wagoneer L starts at $92,140. That's 30 grand more than the standard Wagoneer L. But you get all the luxury trimmings. Mine is $107,225 with the towing package, extra charge paint, and destination fees. This vehicle competes with the Chevy Suburban High Country, the GMC Yukon XL Denali, the Cadillac Escalade ESV, and the Lincoln Navigator L Black Label. These vehicles are very high-end, have all the best trimmings, but they are seriously expensive. The Grand Wagoneer L competes in a very small set of extra large vehicles. And when you go inside, well, it's worth the money. It truly feels like an American Range Rover for the first time. Jeep has done it, the inline-6 is great, the technology is awesome, and it also handles a lot better than you'd think for a vehicle this large. It's very difficult to park, and it doesn't look all that great, especially from this angle. But hey, once you're inside, you can cruise for hundreds of miles in complete comfort. That's what these are designed to do. And even though it's over 100 grand, it's actually a value, believe it or not. That's what it's like in 2023. So what do you think? Go to CarGurus.com to find your next SUV. Keep coming back because we're reviewing more SUVs and crossovers all the time in every season. Subscribe. We'll see you next time.